Where did the global reset come from? And who is behind the global reset and inclusive capitalism? Why is Pope Francis the biggest face of these two plans? And what does this mean for the world? Hopefully, we answer these questions for you in this short presentation. But first,
So people assume we are just going back to the good old world which we had, and everything will be normal again in how we are used to normal, in the old fashion. This is, let's say, fiction. It will not happen.
There will be no return to the old normal for the foreseeable future. There will be no return to the old normal for the foreseeable future.
Now is the historical moment, the time, not only to fight severe virus, but to shape the system.
We have a unique but rapidly shrinking window of opportunity to learn lessons and reset ourselves on a more sustainable path.
What is it that would make it so that history would look at this crisis as the great opportunity for reset?
The Great Reset is a welcome recognition that this human tragedy must be a wake-up call.
according to Vatican News, the Pope sends a message to the World Economic Forum stating that they must create a better world. He noted that the organization offers the various stakeholders the opportunity to explore innovative and effective ways of building a better world. It also provides the opportunity to overcome isolationism, individualism, and ideological colonization that, he said, sadly characterizes too much contemporary debate. The article further states that a truly integral human development can only flourish when all members of the human family are included in and contribute to pursuing the common good. Well, this isn't the only Catholic publication promoting the Pope's common good agenda. The America Jesuit magazine states, if society does not join together in seeking the common good during the pandemic, it will emerge worse off, Pope Francis said during his September 9 general audience at the Vatican, and that was in 2020. From the same article, we read, he focused his talk on the common good, a central theme in the Catholic Church's social teaching. It was the latest talk in a series that he started on August 5th, based on the gospel and the principles of the Church's social doctrine, aimed at helping the human family emerge from the coronavirus pandemic, heal social ills, and build a better world for future generations. So, what is this Catholic social teaching, and where did this common good come from? We will let the Catholic Agency for Overseas Development answer for us. In their article is listed 7 points in the Catholic social teaching: dignity, solidarity, the common good, the option for the poor, peace, care for creation, the dignity of work and participation. But for this presentation, let us examine the common good. The article states that the common good means that the fruits of the earth belong to everyone. No one should be excluded from the gifts of creation. Pope Paul VI spoke about this 50 years ago in his encyclical Populorum Progressio. So, to understand the common good, we have to examine the history of the Catholic social teaching. But first, I'd like to share something with you from the World Economic Forum, which was released in 2016. Notice that the first point speaks to Pope Paul VI's common good explanation, which indicated that the earth belongs to everyone, and no one should be excluded from the gifts of creation, and therefore, the plan of the World Economic Forum aligns perfectly with the plan of the Roman Catholic Church. But to understand the common good, we have to examine the history of the Catholic social teaching. The foundations of modern Catholic social teaching are widely considered to have been laid by Pope Leo XIII's 1819 encyclical letter RERUM NOVARUM. Note, this is after Rome received its deadly wound and would create a plan to rise up once again to have a system that cannot be broken up by man, as was the case in the past. The principles of the Catholic social teaching, though in most cases far older in origin, first began to be combined together into a system in the late 19th century. Since then, successive popes have added to and developed the Church's body of social teaching, principally through the medium of encyclical letters. On May 15, 1891, Pope Leo XIII issued his seminal encyclical Rerum Novarum, subtitled On Capital and Labor. In this document, Leo set out the Catholic Church's response to the social instability and labor conflict that had arisen in the wake of industrialization and had led to the rise of socialism. Other successive popes added to this teaching through encyclicals. These encyclicals expanded the Church's social doctrine to cover relations between rich and poor nations, examining the obligation of rich countries to assist poor countries while respecting their particular cultures. One example is Pope Paul VI, who gave attention to disparities in wealth and development between the industrialized West and the Third World. He said, "There can be no progress toward the complete development of individuals without the simultaneous development of all humanity in the spirit of solidarity." What has this Catholic social teaching evolved into today? According to the Catholic World Report, a century ago, the Church proposed its own version of a Great Reset, rooted in Catholic social teaching. But much of this teaching is forgotten, simply ignored, or even misrepresented. The article further states, Catholic social teaching has been called the Church's best kept secret, and with good reason. The two foundational encyclicals, Pope Leo XIII's Rerum Novarum and Pope Pius XI's Quadragesimo Anno. Other encyclicals on social topics, the Catechism of the Catholic Church, and the Compendium of Social Doctrine of the Church provide a cohesive vision for society. The Catholic World Report confirms that the results of the deadly wound forced the Catholic Church to rethink its approach to try to gain favor and following from the world. They recognized that the deadly wound had caused many to lose trust, faith, and loyalty in the Church. So they devised a way to win the hearts of the unsuspecting. Here is what the article had to say concerning that. The French Revolution began a process in Europe of sweeping away these institutions. Charitable organizations such as the Catholic hospitals, educational institutions, and poor relief was suppressed. Pope Pius XI commented that, following the overthrow and near extinction of that rich social life which was once highly developed through associations of various kinds, there remained virtually only individuals and the state. This presented a practical challenge to Catholics because the institutions that provided a way for people to act in virtue were now gone. In response, Luigi Tapparelli coined the term social justice to highlight the necessity of social structures to help us live out this vocation, and his definition is accepted by the Church. Many have overlooked this and credited the WEF as the originator of the global reset that reflects a plan for the common good. few publications do not yet see that the Pope did not hop aboard the global reset, but is taking his place as the leader behind it. For the global reset was theirs to begin with, and not Klaus Schwab's. The article states that Pope Francis, in remarks in the Apostolic Palace, said the coronavirus has provided the perfect opportunity for economies of the world to reimagine markets and push businesses to put social justice, rather than profits, at the core of their pursuits. He's just picked up the World Economic Forum social collectivist Great Reset playbook and moved it just a little bit more down the road. Really? Pope Francis did not just pick up the World Economic Forum social collectivist Great Reset playbook. This is his denomination's playbook from since 1891.
And I saw some people getting excited, kind of calling this, some kind of eco-communism or something. I personally have a hard time when talking about Pope Francis placing his economic ideas into any ism. But I wonder what your read on this is. Francis lays out this kind of vision, but what does it look like if we were to put it into practice? Does it line up with any sort of economic theory that we already have, or is it something new?
I think in the spirit of Catholic social encyclicals going back to RERUM, NOVARUM in 1891, the kind of founding document from Pope Leo XIII of Catholic social teaching, he's looking for another way. He's not looking to just endorse a particular economic theme or philosophy, but is trying to find a thread that connects really what everybody's looking for.
The National Catholic Register agrees that the Pope did not hop aboard the WEF's Great Reset. In fact, Catholics have been taking credit for the WEF's Great Reset since its announcement in July 2020. However, they cite one difference. The Catholic Church's plan is anchored in God's grace, and the WEF is not, which means everything else is basically the same. From the National Catholic Register we read, having overseen his own hotly debated reset of the Church over the past 8 years, the Pope has begun a number of initiatives along some of the same lines as Schwab. He has frequently expressed a wish for the world to take the opportunity to emerge better from the COVID crisis, including through his October 2020 social encyclical Fratelli Tutti, which the WEF read as proposing a reset similar to its own. But the writing was already on the wall from since 2015. In this article, Pope Francis was already pushing for a global reset. About a year later, the WEF released this article. And they released this video in the same year. Coincidence? Nothing Rome does is by coincidence. It is almost always by design. Now that the Catholic Church's objective through the Catholic social teaching is coming to fruition, the Pope, who is a Jesuit, is now transitioning into a global leader. No longer is he speaking and addressing religious matters, but now he is beginning to address political matters. The Pope is no longer seen as just a religious leader. He is now giving directives to leading global institutions such as the IMF.
Queridos hermanos y hermanas,
Pope Francis addressed a letter to participants of the 2021 spring meeting of the World Bank Group and the International Monetary Fund. He called for a global recovery plan that responds to the COVID-19 pandemic while giving poorer and less developed nations access to the international market.
So how did the Catholic social teaching infiltrate organizations such as the World Economic Forum and influence world leaders? From the book The Great Controversy we read, under various disguises, the Jesuits worked their way into offices of the state, climbing up to be the counselors of kings and shaping the policy of nations. They became servants to act as spies upon their masters. They established colleges for the sons of princes and nobles, and schools for the common people, and the children of Protestant parents were drawn into an observance of popish rites. all the outward pomp and display of the Romish worship was brought to bear to confuse the mind, and dazzle and captivate the imagination, and thus the liberty for which the fathers had toiled and bled was betrayed by the sons. The Jesuits rapidly spread themselves over Europe, and wherever they went, there followed a revival of popery. The proof is in the numbers. The Ignatian Solidarity Network reported in 2018 that over 11% of the 116th US Congress are graduates of Jesuit universities or high schools. America, the Jesuit Review, also reported in February 2021 that although Catholics make up about 20% of the US population, they represent 30% of the 117th Congress, according to the Pew Research Center. Protestants still dominate with 55% of the seats in the House and the Senate. They represent 43% of the population, but they are splintered into more than a dozen different denominations. That makes Catholics the single largest fifth group in the House and Senate for 2021. Regardless of the high percentage of Protestants in the current Congress membership, as far as Rome is concerned, in 2017, Protestants and Catholics together declared the end of the Reformation, making Protestants officially daughters of the Catholic Church.
So the protest has been over for 15 years. And I get a bit cheeky here because I challenge my Protestant pastor friends. If there is no more protest, how can there be a Protestant church? Maybe we're all Catholics again. But we are Reformed. We're Catholic in the universal sense. We are not protesting the doctrine of salvation by the Catholic Church anymore. We now preach the same gospel. We now preach you are saved by grace through faith alone. The word alone was the argument for 500 years. The word alone is there. You can read it yourself. The protest is over.
But the global reset was already discussed as far back as 2007, when the Jesuits met in Rome to discuss globalization. According to America, the Jesuit Review, we read, when the Jesuit electors meet in Rome for the 35th General Congregation, they will issue a document treating globalization and environmental issues. Many international leaders have already backed the global reset.
Together we can fix this. Let's build back better.
Of course, we also want to work together on building back better.
As the world recovers, we have a chance to reset the clock and build back better than before.
Build back better.
There is a long road to recovery ahead. We all know this, but it is undoubtedly an opportunity for us to work together and build back better.
Building back better our economy and society.
4 sets of priorities can guide the response to build back better and achieve the Sustainable Development Goals.
Each see it as a blueprint for resetting capitalism, a chance to build back better after the global pandemic, and to set the world on a more environmentally friendly and sustainable path for which there is no alternative.
È necessario urgente un sistema economico giusto, affidabile e in grado di rispondere alle sfide più radicali che l'umanità e il pianeta si trovano ad affrontare.
We are answering Pope Francis's challenge to create more inclusive economies that spread the benefits of capitalism more equitably and allow individuals to realize their full potential.
A majority of people around the world say that they think their families will be worse off in 5 years. That's a scenario that we simply can't accept.
Too much wealth has accreted to too few people.
If you make money, what's the point if you're not prepared to share it? If the people who help make that wealth for you can't live with dignity?
It's inclusive capitalism, though, and we have to recognize
that starting from where we are to where we need to get to, we need to bring everyone along, and there will be adjustments that come with that.
We do need the private sector's ingenuity, capital, technology, people, everything, their passion to come to the party.
We want to operate in a sustainable way, where incentives are aligned across generations, not just across quarters, and the main actors take a long-term perspective.
Aligning our innovation with the UN Sustainable Development Goals and the priorities of inclusive capitalism is both a business and sustainability imperative.
Two reasons, I think, why I'd say concrete commitments to inclusive capitalism matter. I mean, the first, and not to be underestimated, really important, is they can inspire other people. And the second thing that I would say around concrete public commitments is they can help build trust.
Leaders in the business community can be a unifying force. They can be a source of opportunity. They can be a source of understanding. So we as business leaders can step up and solve many of these economic problems.
I think business plays a very important role in resolving these challenges. I think businesses have to become, part of the solution through leadership by example and through leadership by incentives.
We are stewards of this earth. It's our duty to keep it clean and to keep it decent for future generations.
I'm wanting to embark on this journey to provide the guidance and the assistance of the church's own social thought and whatever other consideration might be necessary, whether ethical or, just social guidance, so that this group that has taking up such a noble task of making capitalism work for the good of humanity, achieve its goal, and land on target. So this is our vision, this is our purpose.
Look, the fact that different religions need to come together on all matters is just the crying need of the times in our world. Faith cannot be used to pull us apart. Faith is meant to bring us together. And the fact that I'm a Sikh and somebody else is a different religion, to me, doesn't matter.
Our work is indeed about social justice, which is rooted in the gospel. The idea that every person deserves to live in a just society.
Capitalism is at the heart of innovation that creates higher standard of living. And we know that it's been working. Yet we also know we can do a lot better.
We need a new system focused on the well-being of people. It's a big challenge, but if it is done right, the benefits will be immense.
It's not just an asset owner, it's not just an asset manager, it's not just a CEO, it's not just these boards of directors. We have to work collectively over the long term.
What I think capitalism has to stand for to be inclusive capitalism, how we help everybody have equal access to the opportunity, have the economic mobility.
The Council is a terrific body in which we can assemble a critical mass of companies to join and commit to concrete actions that not only affect and improve the communities in which we live, but affect the world community of which we're all a part of.
We believe we need more than 1,000 organizations on board, and only with this very purposeful collective action, we will see the systemic change across markets that will make capitalism truly inclusive.
We invite all businesses, large and small, and individuals to join us as stewards for inclusive capitalism by going to our website, agreeing the principles, and making your own commitments to inclusive capitalism. Please join us. Thank you.
But as prophecy students, we know that global reset won't last long. Revelation 18 speaks not just of a warning given to the people of God, but the demise of such a system. In verse 8 of Revelation 18, we read, "Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. The kings of the earth, the political leaders, and the merchants, the billionaires, who have all benefited from Rome, will cry over her demise because they helped build that great city called Babylon. Verse 9 states, "And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning." Verse 10, "Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come." Verse 15 states, "The merchants of these things, which were made rich by her, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing." And verse 16, "And saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, for in 1 hour so great riches come to naught. And every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off. The merchants who are the billionaires of this world, they were made rich by Rome. The holidays throughout the year where shopping is the priority, they made millions."
An estimated 97 million shoppers crammed in the stores today. By the time the weekend is over, that number is expected to swell to 140 million.
The pandemic, where billionaires became richer.
From March to June 2020, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos saw his wealth rise by an estimated $48 billion.
Jesuits helped influence and establish billionaires such as Bill Gates, John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, and the banking kings, the Rothschilds. They all had and still have their role to play in ensuring that Rome's Catholic social teaching reaches its intended climax to build the end-time global system through the Great Reset, a system that will control every aspect of your life, enforce Sunday worship, and persecute those who oppose. Keep watching and praying as these end-time events move rapidly to fulfillment, for only those who place themselves under God's control to be led and guided by Him will catch the steady tread of events ordained by Him to take place. Keep watching Advent Channel as we present more of these presentations. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this presentation with as many persons as possible. God bless you. Until next time, take care.